Hello everyone, this is Miss Cousins and I am going to go ahead and create a video just explaining the requirements and the information for the genetics family tree project. So if you look at this, I have the actual document that you're going to be working on as well as a post-it note that I will be taking notes on. So the genetics family tree. So this project will give you an opportunity to produce a photo album using Google Slides to show information about your genetic makeup. I know a lot of you guys have been asking us questions to Mr. Perkins and to myself, asking, are we going to be ready for high school? We're learning from the computer. Are we ready? So what we've decided to do is actually create this Google slide to help get you ready for high school, our high school preparedness. Okay, so this is another additional step in your project to push you to the various content that you're going to be exposed to next year as high schoolers. All right, so the family tree project. Well, what is it? Basically, you guys are going to be creating a family tree of the traits that you exhibit, and you have to be able to look at these traits looking at your mother's side and your father's side to try to figure out who had what. All right, so some of the traits that we're going to study are the ones that we specifically talked about in class, like eye color, hair texture, hairline, eyebrow shape, and lip structure to determine our own phenotype. The phenotype is the physical appearance, and the genotype is the genetic makeup. Pheno, physical appearance, genotype, the genetic makeup. So we're going to fill out the chart below. Please know the requirements for this specific project. I apologize, I got a little stuck. For this specific project, one, you have to have all the information displayed in tables. If you look at this document, I already have created tables and charts for you to use, all right? Number two, you have to have visuals, all right? You have to have pictures of your grandfather on the grandpa slide, or your grandmother on the grandmother slide, or your mom on the mom slide, all righty? And last but not least, you're gonna have a well-written explanation for what you've learned in this project using genetics vocabulary words. And if you guys remember last week, there was a whole vocabulary list of words that you had to use. Also, there will be a page posted, genetics vocab, so you guys have some terms to pull from. So first off, how are you going to even conquer this project? Where do you start? Well, based off of these characteristics, these 6 human traits, you're going to use each of these letters to represent the traits when you're actually completing the Punnett square. Mr. Perkins has also created a video to explain how to create your Punnett square and how to come up with those ratios that we're asking for. Now over here, so phenotype is the physical appearance. So I'm doing this for me. This box is specifically for you. So my phenotype for eye color, I have hazel eyes. All right. So I put hazel eyes, and then now my genotype, this is the genetic makeup. So my genetic makeup, lowercase, is going to be the recessive. Alrighty. Now let's go over here to hair color. Hair color, you can either be dark hair, dominant, or recessive, blonde hair or red hair. Okay, so I'm not a blonde and I don't have red hair. I have dark hair, so I'm going to put my phenotype as dark hair. Now, the possible genotypes that I have are either homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Okay, so for this project, when we're talking about our mothers and our fathers, anytime they're dominant, we're going to assume that they are heterozygous. Okay, anytime somebody in our family is dominant for a trait, we are going to assume that they're heterozygous. So down here, you're going to go ahead and answer this question. You're going to figure out how far back you can actually trace your traits, okay? And then you're going to determine which traits are dominant and which ones are recessive. Scrolling down, so now, these boxes are going to represent your mother's side of the family. You're focusing on your mother's side of the family first. So on my mother's side, specifically, now let's talk about my mom. So my mom, what is her phenotype, her physical expression? She has brown eyes. So the possible genotypes that she has are either homozygous dominant, or heterozygous. Remember, we're assuming that she is heterozygous. We're going to assume that she's heterozygous, so we'll just go ahead and have that genotype there. We're going to have both of them present though. Dark hair. My mom has dark hair too. Okay, same thing. We're going to write both of the possible genotypes for her, but when we actually do the Punnett square, we're going to focus here on the heterozygous. Now, maternal mother's phenotype. This is asking for your grandma on your mom's side, right here. And I know this says my, but disregard that my. We're going to go ahead and focus on their genotypes, okay? So we're going to focus on their genotypes and what they have present. Then now you're going to focus on your grandpa on your mom's side. And you're going to do this all the way. Same thing for your father's side. Father's mom, father's dad. Grandma and grandpa on your mom on your father's side. All right, now these directions, this is what I wanted to make note of. This is what is extremely important. It says create a Punnett square for each of the traits to see the likelihood of that trait occurring, assuming all dominant traits to be heterozygous, okay? I know I mentioned it before, but I have it right here again to help you understand it. All dominant traits are going to be heterozygous. We are going to assume that they're heterozygous. So then when you come over here to try to do your grandmother and your grandfather, you're going to do those crosses. Remember, Mr. Perkins has a video to show you how to do that. All right, so you'll do that for your grandma and your grandpa on your mom's side, and then your grandma and your grandpa on your dad's side. Then, last but not least, you're going to actually do the cross between your mother and father based off of their traits, based off of their genotype. And you'll do that information down here as well. And then lastly, you're going to do your reflection. Your reflection, you're going to go ahead and write in these boxes and explain it. All right? Now, remember, we're talking about high school preparedness, because if we look all the way at the front, it says create a photo album using Google Slides. Well, if we actually click on our Google Slides, you can see that this is a genetic family tree project. So your maternal grandparents, the crosses that you did on those pages before, on this right here. So the crosses that you did on page number 4, these crosses, you can actually copy them and paste them into the project, or you can just make a copy. So you're going to do this for your maternal grandparents, your paternal or your father's parents, and then you're going to do this for your parents. And you're also going to include photos. Okay, if you're able to upload photos, that's great. We want to see the photos, and you're going to go through. And then where you had your reflection piece at the bottom portion, you're going to go ahead and put that down here as well. Okay, and what you learned from the project. So remember, Mr. Perkins and I have decided to go ahead and group our classes together. So our classes are now being grouped together. So if you have any questions about this project, you can reach out to me or Mr. Perkins. Our office hours are posted on the front page, so make sure you go there to look. I'm also posting a phone number there that you can actually text me at should you have any questions, comments, or concerns, okay? So remember, this is your project. It is worth 100 points. This is your final project because we are closing out our genetics unit as we transition to the next one. All right, this is if you choose the Family Tree Genetic Project. See ya.